internet culture, cancel culture, like it's mad because like almost like you can't make mistakes,
Yeah, you can't.
like,
Um,
and it doesn't work like that, man. We're gonna make
some mistake regardless. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, man, I think that's yeah. It's just you gotta just protect yourself, man. And I know obviously like the whole year, or the part, even the part, because we've been in pandemic for like what
Since 2020, I think.
2020, like
Yeah.
it's literally the whole year. A lot's been going on. Like I was saying to you before, like I feel like me and just me anyway. I'm not saying I don't care when I hear about um deaths and stuff, but it's almost like I don't know. You don't. I don't feel. Yeah, I'm a bit desensitized because it's like we like even with COVID, we've heard of people passing, and it's like you hear it so much, it almost becomes like it doesn't become like you don't become shocked anymore because it's like like when people used to say like when people watch violence on TV,
Yeah.
you can become desensitized because you've seen it so much. But when you keep hearing of people passing, especially you've like gone through loss yourself and multiple loss. Do you know what I mean? So you almost become like, okay, it's just okay. Someone else has passed, another person's passed. Like like when my dad passed, that was the first person close in my family to have passed. Do you know what I mean? So of course there was a bit of um like a bit of shock in it. Like not even though I kind of I wasn't too surprised, but I was still a bit like, oh wow. Then when my mum passed, that was I was like, okay, this is because it's close to this is my mum, so that's of course that's gonna hurt. But then after that, the other losses that I experienced, I don't feel like I felt the same emotions. I don't know, maybe because I don't know, maybe like I don't know, something I feel like am I desensitized or am I drained? As in drained from just because I've been
Just
through
hearing
some
it all the time on the news, and
yeah, it's COVID, it's your own personal losses you dealt with. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you almost become okay. I don't know if I have any more like I don't know like, reaction. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
So like I don't know like how do you feel like in terms of like do you feel like you've become a lot more desensitized to death? And I don't when I say desensitized, I feel like it's not a bad word, but I mean more so just because you've experienced loss multiple times.
yeah.
So do you feel like it's had an effect of how you hear about death now? So if you hear about death now, do you think like you feel well? Of course, it depends on the person,
Yeah.
but do you feel like it's kind of you going through your own loss has made you feel a bit desensitized?
So I think the first time it happened to my dad, there was a bit of a shock because grief is the word you just don't hear when
Mm,
you're just getting on with life, and obviously you hear about it and you thought, oh wow, that hurts. Like I think grief is an emotion
mm.
as well when even people don't see it,
Hold on,
but
move
it
this closer.
oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I think grief is part of an emotion,
Mm,
but it's how you see it, that matters. So I think I became a bit desensitized after um with this the news with COVID and people just losing their lives, loved ones, and yeah, that's when I became a bit desensitized because
mm.
it's just like you know um you don't even feel anything anymore. It's just a continuous cycle.
But do you feel like for you, do you feel like you felt like that because you've lost your parents, or do you feel like because you keep hearing of people passing, like for example with the COVID news, that we're always hearing weekly of people, how many people, the amount of cases that we have people dying. So do you think it's because if you keep hearing of cases, people dying, do you think that's why? Do you think that's what's made you desensitized, or is it because of your parents?
I'll probably say the news when you hear of like reports of people, dying and it gets to like thousands and the numbers keep going up. I don't it just doesn't feel real, when you think about it.
Mm.
That's just the way that I see this whole grief. I think if you've lost someone to you personally, then you will feel more desensitized to what you
Yeah,
hear on the
yeah, yeah,
news because it's something that, you know, to some people you're used to just hearing about it
yeah,
on a daily basis.
yeah. That's true. But even, cause even when I think of, because I always say to myself like I know I have emotions, but sometimes I feel like that's why I ask myself. I don't know if I'm just drained from just grief, or or I don't. Or it doesn't really hit me anymore when I hear of death, or when or like even just speaking about it. I think even being able to just speak about it, I feel like maybe that's a form of me being desensitized because speaking about something that's so heavy,
Yeah,
or that can be filled with so much heavy emotion, but I can speak about it as if to say I'm speaking like anything else. I'm speaking about same way I speak about like maybe films, football, anything in life. But again, it's not a bad thing. That like, it just shows. It could just show that yes, I'm at a place where I'm able to speak about my grief, but at the same time, it's like when I hear about death, it doesn't really um I don't know that it doesn't really have the same impact.
yeah,
So it's like I don't know, like
yeah. I think some people, when they have experienced grief, it might be draining to them if they talk about it more, or if not, then maybe it might not have the same effect on them. You know.
yeah, that's why I feel like yeah. When I ask, I feel like it's a bit of both. Like I am probably a bit drained, like mentally drained from it. So like, and because of that, I don't know. I just don't. It's like I no longer have. Also, I don't have an emotional capacity, but I just feel like sometimes I don't know how can I put it. Like if I'll ever have a natural reaction to grief again, like
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like so for me, it's now it's just like oh, someone else has passed, and I'm just like damn, of course it's sad, it's unfortunate, but for me, it's like oh, someone else has passed. It's not a thing. Oh, that someone. Oh, this person passed. Like
yeah,
I'm like, there's no shock anymore. There's no, I don't know. Yeah, there's no. I'm just like, okay, someone else, is another person who's passed, and I don't mean that in an insensitive way, but it's just like, again, I think it's just because I've been so used to it,
yeah,
So, and even just like, um, I think I don't know. I think like I don't want to. It's tricky because I know like I don't want to have to experience grief again. I know it's inevitable because
mm,
people pass, and so I can't say for sure that yeah I would definitely not have a kind of like a organic emotion to when I hear of loss again. So because I don't know who it depends who it is. Like I'm not like I may not feel anything about hearing about someone's passing who I don't know in it.
yeah,
And that doesn't mean I'm happy that that person's passed even though I don't know them. But there's no I mean there's no connection, so I may not have any feelings in it.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So I can't say for sure that I will never feel emotion again. But I just feel like right now it's kind of hard because it's all I've we just even the past 2 years all we've ever been hearing of just
yeah,
COVID, and then again it's along with COVID deaths, and then it's our own grief that we're dealing with daily. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like that coupled with that. So it's just kind of a continuous thing. Like, because that's the thing with grief. It's not like it's, you know, something you can just kind of put away in the cupboard for like a few hours or a couple of days. It's coming with you everywhere you're going. Like we're sitting here, it's here. You going here. It's just there in it. So it's like maybe that can make you just feel a bit more desensitized because you've been used to it. Like, but and even though like it's part of life because death is part of this, we're still part of the cycle. But it still makes us we still have a sense of disbelief or shock, whatever emotions may come with. We still sense that because it's still a heavy thing. Do you know what I mean? Even though it's inevitable, we know it, but it's still heavy in it. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying like I'm just heartless. I have like a heart of ice or however the expression goes, but I do feel like sometimes I'm like almost just desensitized a bit. Like I don't know. So Yes, I don't know. It's a weird one. Like
Yeah.
it's a weird one. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't like, and sometimes as well, it's processing things as well. Like for me, like I feel like the reason why like I feel desensitized is because I didn't process all my losses in the same way. So like my dad passing, I wasn't processing it the same way my mum passed, and or when my granddad passed, or when I lost my friend. It's just like it's different. I remember my granddad, I didn't even cry, and I thought, rah, man, like is that odd? I didn't know one tear,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's not because I didn't like I didn't care. I wasn't, but it's just because it was just different. I think maybe because um I didn't knew he was I didn't know he was gonna pass, but I don't know. I just didn't like cry. I don't know.
Yeah. I think some people are different when it comes, depending on the person is and who it meant to the person, who
Mm,
they were. Then yeah, I think it'll matter more. Depending on how long the relationship was with the
mm,
person, then it might hit them differently to some people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like you processed your dad's death and your mum's death in the same way?
Um, I don't think it was the same way because I was 12 years old. So obviously, when you're young, you don't know what death is about. But obviously, if you have like a older parent and you have a little daughter or son that's like 5 years old, then
Mm,
you might need to explain it to them in a way that they'll be able to understand it because they might not understand it, but they'll give you small, subtle ways of showing it, you know.
mm,
Even with Mark, um, the guest that we had on, he's writing a book about grief and young children
yeah,
because he wants them to understand it in a way that they will be educated on the topic.
yeah.
So yeah, I think back to the point. Yeah, it hits you much more differently when you. To me, it hit me differently when I was older. Because obviously I didn't know what it was, but it was just frustration and you know, I don't like to use this word, but regret. You
Mm.
know, because it happened too soon. But I don't like saying the word regret because
But
I
but
just
you when you say regret in terms of as in you had regrets.
well probably what I mean by it is her not seeing me get older and you know do certain things in life that will make her proud.
Yeah,
So like in a way like that. If that makes sense.
yeah,
You,
yeah. I think I definitely had that as well. Like I was just thinking like, well, there you obviously I missed like the memories and I missed her, but then also missing like what the memories that I'm not gonna make or the times when she's not gonna see me like just the milestones that she's gonna miss.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So like definitely um that was hard. It still is hard. Do you know what I mean? But even just when I like just reflect back you know from when she passed till now and what I was saying, circling back to what we were talking about earlier.
yeah.
Like I don't know if it's made me more emotional or less emotional.
That's a good question.
Like I know I have emotions, but it's like I'm a bit I'm used to this now. Like it's like
Mm,
I understand that this is it's life. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. Yeah, but just I don't know if I can show the same emotions or I don't know how. Like I feel like my emotional battery is sort of
yeah,
just wearing. I don't know. It's just like it's decreasing. Like
Yeah, I think it's a good point that you made. Does grief make you emotional or less emotional? So I think everyone is different. I think men grieve differently, women grieve differently. I think it just depends on how you control your emotions so it doesn't get in the way of you, living life. Because sometimes you can't let your emotions override you as a person because you might end up doing something or saying something that you regret later on.
Yeah, but the thing is like is that too. I think you have to manage your emotions, but I do feel like no matter if you're someone who you can always you're able to like control your emotions, which is fine,
Yeah,
and maybe not hide them, but yeah, I guess control them in a way so that people you don't kind of let people in to a degree. But I also feel like as people we should have some sort of emotion, man.
yeah, definitely, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and I don't know, and I just feel like, and I'm not saying who we show that to is it will vary. Like we don't have to show emotion to every single person. It depends. Like again, it's back to, well, not back. Sorry, it's kind of like a question of like, who you feel comfortable around, because you're not going to show emotion to every single person. You have to,
yeah,
to be able to be vulnerable and show emotion to people or someone that comes at a level of you trust that person.
yeah,
That person has made you feel weird to even feel like you're comfortable enough to open up, talk to them, and do you know what I mean? So it's not just something you just do like blindly in it, but
yeah. To anyone, yeah, it's true. I think you just got to be selective with who you're, you know,
yeah, like who you're kind of showing it to.